Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today at the Wtth Town Hall. It's great to see you, so many of our partners and distributors here. Whether you are joining us from Asia, Europe, or Middle East, we are truly glad you are with us. My name is Kalle Söderholm, and I will be your moderator today. We have put together what I think will be really exciting and informative half an hour. And I hope you leave with a clear picture of where Wtth is heading and what our technology can do for you and your customers. Here is how the session will run. First, our founder and CEO, Christian Storm, will take you through the Mimir platform, giving you a solid overview of our core offering and vision. After that, our Director of R&D, Johan Norden, will walk you through the V-sensor and its applications. And finally, we'll close with the Q&A session where we want to hear from you. Before I hand over, a quick note on questions. Please use the Q&A function to submit your questions throughout the session. I'll be collecting them and we'll address them together in the last part of the webinar. Now, without further delay, it's my great pleasure to hand over to Christian Storm. Over to you, Christian.
All right, thank you so much, Kalle. And I'll just, perfect. All right, it's a great pleasure for me to be here presenting on this first version of the Tech Town Hall sessions. So what we'll be doing in these sessions is to announce and communicate to you all the innovative and frankly pretty cool features that are being developed at Wtth at a really fast pace. So it is an honor to me to start with presenting the first launch in this session, and this is the new Mimir platform. The new Mimir platform is a purpose-built platform for both visual monitoring applications and also metering applications. And the new Mimir is a really powerful and customizable out of the box. For example, you will be able to create and deploy your own dashboards, and together with this, also define your own APIs that you will be running. We are going to also include custom AI models in the new Mimir platform. And this means that you will be able to, even without your own data science team, you can create your own AI models in Mimir and then train them on the data that you have and the pictures that you have and get results back immediately. And I'll show this in a short video in a moment. New Mimir also has really strong security. We continue to focus on security in our platform. And with the new Mimir, we are implementing basically enterprise-grade access control. So you will have a really granular way of controlling which user gets access to what and who can do what in the system. We're also working with an API-first architecture, which means that integrating this into your systems will be even easier with the new version. And we're also launching native fleet management capability, giving you a very easy and fast overview of your sensors and your devices in the field. So let me show you a short video. This is a video first of an installation that we have in Spain. And after that, there is a demo of how to use the AI models to get data from your sensors. So this is showing installation of sensors at a water station where we are filtering trash and other stuff out of the water flow. And the grates you see in the background are basically filters that are filtering trash. And in Mimir, you can now create your own AI models. So it's as easy as naming the AI model, selecting what you want to measure, in this case, a numeric value. You can then add a couple of pictures as reference. So here we're selecting 3 or 4 pictures that we want to use as a reference. And then saying this is, say, 95% covered, 30% covered. So we're entering how much of the filter we say is covered by trash in this. Then we'll give a short prompt what we want to measure. We want to measure the percentage of the filter that is covered by trash. After that, we add some test pictures. So we want to verify that the model works. The model is already deployed. We run all tests and we immediately get data back from our AI model, how much of this filter is covered by debris in this. The AI model is already deployed. So in the next step, you just add the automation. Every AI model becomes an automation and you activate this automation on your devices. And that's it. So what this gives you is in a couple of seconds, you can define your own AI models. And then it's extremely easy to add this AI model to all your sensors. And this means that as soon as a sensor uploads a picture, this picture will be sent to your custom AI model. The AI model will analyze the picture and you will get that data back directly into Mimir that can be used for example, alarms or visualizing this in a custom dashboard. And what this means is you can basically turn every sensor into an intelligent observer and create, train, test, and deploy your custom AI models directly from the platform in a very simple way. In this feature, we are focusing on simplicity. Everyone should be able to do this. Next feature in Mimir is the metering application. This is one of the dashboard applications that are available out of the box. So as soon as you sign in, you will see the metering application, and this will tell you or give you a quick overview of what is the total consumption of my sensor fleet, the water, electricity, or for example, gas consumption. You will be able to see averages, usage, and also see what is the hourly distribution throughout the day. When are people using, let's say, water the most? When are people using water the least? As I mentioned, we are focusing on security and also enhancing the features related to security. So we're introducing full role-based access control in the new Mimir. And what this means, it's a very comprehensive and granular security permission system where you can decide exactly who gets access to what. From the start, you will have a couple of roles that are common for everyone, that are common use cases, but you will be able to create your own roles and set the exact permissions that you want for your different categories of users. Same as in the version 1 of Mimir, you will be able to deep dive in your sensor data, and we've enhanced this quite significantly. So you can view devices on a map, but now you can also select exactly what metrics or measures you want to visualize from your sensors. This could be the positioning of the device, accelerometer values. You can visualize meter usage, of course. You can visualize the confidence of each meter measurement, etc. And we're also introducing a number of different panels for on the device details view. For example, we have significantly improved the settings page, so you can more easily roll out settings for your sensors. The API, we have worked on improving the API, and in this version, you can test the API directly from the dashboard. And at the bottom, you will have an API documentation where you can try different endpoints and play around with them. You can also download an open API file, which basically lets you integrate the API with your system in a very simple way. So to summarize a couple of other features, I mentioned automations. AI models is part of our automations. We're also rolling out more automations that lets you automate typical workflows that you do with your sensors. We're keeping the alarms function, so you can get, for example, an email if certain conditions on the sensor is true. We are changing the meter type management. So we're giving you control of meter type definition. You can still import meter types from our library, but if you want a specific set of meter type for your installers, you can define that on your own and then roll that out to be used during installation of sensors. Applications, this is the dynamic dashboard applications. It's currently managed by Wtth, but we will very soon be rolling out the graphical editor where you can define your own dashboards and also define the API endpoints that you want to connect to and get data. And final thing to mention is we are also launching contextual support. So every page in Mimir will have its own contextual support where you can read about all the features on this page. And that's it from me. It's available at emea.mimir.valtero.io, or for the other regions, Emea or Apac, and you can use your Mimir credentials to sign in and try it out right now. All right. Thank you. Back to you, Kalle.
Thank you, Christian. Really exciting to see full picture of Mimir. And now I'm delighted to introduce Johan Norden, our Director of R&D, who will take you deeper in the Wtth sensor and application. Johan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Kalle. So let's get started here. Yep, so I'm going to talk to you. First, I'm going to start talking about a little bit about our setup app, which is a new thing. And the purpose of that is to make sure that installation goes smoothly and that when install is finished in a location, you know that you can leave being confident that data is being delivered and it is connected and everything. So in essence, you don't have to go back. That's what you can ensure. So yeah, as I said, it's an app. It's available for Android and iOS. It will be available sometime, yeah, the 23rd of March. And basically what it takes you through the installation of the sensor in terms of pairing it to our cloud backend, to setting it up using cellular or Wi-Fi. You can, if you have connectivity issues on site, you can use the app to guide you to see where in the room might it actually be better to put an antenna and so on. And also, which I think is really exciting as well, is that you can verify that reading is accurate enough. So you can get an image and you can make sure that it's accurate readings. All right, so I'm going to show you now a short video where the cellular setup is done. So basically what the user here is doing is setting it up to connect on LTE without, yeah. Right, so here we are getting started. So we're putting the sensor into config mode in order to connect to it locally. You can see it flashing. That's why, then you know it's connected. What we then do is that we take, using the app, we scan the QR code on the sensor to identify which sensor we're going to talk to. The app then connects locally to the sensor, so not using LTE or anything. It's a local Wi-Fi hotspot where it connects to it and adds it to the cloud backend, and as well testing connectivity. So we're actually already here verifying that it is connected, getting connected. So this, as you probably know, if you have installed, this takes a little bit of time. What you can now do is you can look at live streaming of images from the sensor. So you can set the correct light settings if it looks a little bit too dark or something. Here you'll also test the meter reading. There was a button for that. So we'll see, yeah, so it looks like the numbers match. So then we press the accept reading. We can also add information about the sensor, such as the device ID, let's say the ID of the meter, location, and also an installation photo, which I think is good for remembering when you have to go back later to know how it's installed and everything. And then basically that's it. So now, having run this flow, you know the sensor is connected and it is giving data. So that was what I wanted to say about the app. Now we're also coming up with a new release in March, a new firmware release of the W sensor, which have some significantly enhanced features, I should say, that I would like to present now. The first one is that I think for those of you who've installed in the past, you know that we have had a phase with training. So you install the device, install the sensor, you get it to upload images, and then depending on if you deploy in a large project, you deploy, let's say 20 sensors on identical meters, then training goes very quickly, as you know. But if you only deploy on 1 or 2 meters, training can take some time, and there are two. Of course, you don't get any data from the start, which is a little bit disappointing, perhaps to the end customer who is looking for data, and we're using too much battery or we're wasting battery if we could avoid it. So we turn this around now, and instead we have trained models that can read numbers from the install. In the December or January release, we released analog meters for that. So I think some of you have tried that, and it's been really successful. Now we're introducing models for LCD displays as well as dials. So by dials, that means pressure gauges and things like that, where we have a needle that is pointing to a value. So here we have trained specific models for this. So getting the same output that you get from the analog, in the sense that you install it, make sure it's well installed, and then you're starting to get data. We still have kept the old feature of being able to train specialized models. Could be instances where the model is not able to read for different reasons, or where, we want to tune something. Then we can still do that, but in almost all cases, we believe that generic models will be the way to go. We have seen in the past that glare can and is an issue for LCD displays, because several layers of glass within the LCD display can create reflections and so on. So we've also made a hardware modification that we can introduce for sensors reading LCD displays. So if you know that you're going to install on LCDs, tell us that before, when you place the order, and then we will make sure that you have that hardware modification from day one. All right, that was then the next big feature is the what we call improved onboard processing. So basically, in the past, we've seen that, I'm going to show you an example here of a Neptune water meter, where you have this needle that is indicating 1/10 of a gallon. So this is rotating all the time, and sometimes it's blocking the numbers. So in this case here, for example, let's say that the meter says 88938, and we present that, and everything is fine, and then the needle ends up in this position. Then before, there was a risk that this could be interpreted as a 3, let's say, if you look at this here, and then the next value would be 83938, which means that the graph would look really bad, and the number would not be good. So what we've done is basically two things to correct for this. We've improved the models, as I talked about, but also, very importantly, we've added statistical filters to the sensor. So it will look at historical data, and then, as we as humans know that this doesn't look good, it's going to be the same for the sensor. The sensor will see it doesn't make sense, probably an 8, because it will look at other statistical values and it will give you the right value. The third feature that we are pushing now is to have even more optimized power savings. So we have done optimizations on driver level in terms of making sure that the board is driven at the lowest possible currents, and then shorten the execution time. And what we've done, which I think based on our experience from the field now, we've made a better trade-off between connectivity and battery life. So before, we were always trying to get connected at basically any price, and the cost of that was battery life. So what we've done now is made a better balance between that, because in the end, the sensor can store 250 values. So if we don't get connected one day, we get connected next day instead, with a more battery conservative connection. We also introduce full support for modem power saving mode, meaning that the modem will use less energy when connecting. Right, so I should say a word about this as well. So we also looked at battery life and expected battery life, and measured from the field and from our lab. And what we've seen is that if you do 1 read per hour, depending a little bit how you set it up, the battery life is between 5 and 6 years. If you read once per day, the battery life is more than 10 years. Here, the limitation is going to be the shelf life of the battery and nothing else. So how often you read is really important. And I should also say that once per day uploading gets you 5 years. If you would, let's say, send 3 times per day, probably you would half this. So it's really critical, this sense. Right, so I want to talk about a few new features that we're introducing as well, a little bit. So this coming this spring, that I think I would like to push a little bit extra for. The first one is vibration analysis, which we're already running some pilots on. So what it does is basically measure when something starts to vibrate and when it stops vibrating. So the use case is, for example, monitoring of pumps, machine operation, etc. So what the sensor does is that it wakes up when the pump starts, records the time of start, then it goes back to sleep, and when the pump stops running, it records the time of the stop. And then it uploads this data once per day or whenever you want. So then you can get a very good understanding of how your pump is operating or machine is operating. We've also made a dashboard for this in Emea that you can see here, and you will be able to explore soon. The second, the other new features are two things. One is supporting our, let's say, video monitoring use case, where we've looking at a lower bandwidth upload of images using UDP and co-op. And basically what we'll do is we'll reduce the amount of data being sent, and we will save battery life, and we will improve, let's say, availability of images. We're also introducing new in-field troubleshooting features, like some troubleshooting guide in the app, as well as some new sensor features like factory default, and more, let's say, automatic fault correction, and so on. So we will be able to see when something goes wrong. Lastly, I'm going to tell you about two new product variants that are coming soon. The first one is Cat 1 bis, which is another LTE technology. So instead of NB-IoT or LTE-M, we're connecting on Cat 1 bis, which is the same hardware as used in the normal LTE network. So some network providers in some parts of the world have rolled out Cat 1 bis instead of NB-IoT, and that's why this is relevant. We're also introducing an audio analysis device where we will replace the camera with a microphone. And then you can imagine all the things you can do when you record audio instead of grabbing images, all the analytics we can do, and so on. So those were the two new product variants, and that was all I had to say. So over to you again, Kalle.
All right. Thank you, both of you. Thank you, Christian, and thank you. That was a great session. Now we have around 5 minutes of Q&A. I have been keeping an eye on your questions in the chat, and we'll get through as many as we can. And if we are not able to answer all the questions, we will come back with you later. But I think the first question here is, when we have multiple contractors in the field, can we set different permission levels for the on-site installers versus project managers overseeing the entire deployment? I think this is more for Christian.
All right. Yes, you are. So you will be able to on a very low level, define exactly what each role will be able to do. So for example, you can define roles that are able to pair the sensors, but that are not able to look at data from the sensor, for example, if you want to keep historical data protected. But you can also create roles that have different types of permission levels. We currently have more than 100 different permissions that you can set. And of course, we will help you with this if you need guidance, or if the roles that we already have in the platform are not adequate for that.
All right. Thanks. Then the second one, I think this is more for Johan. What was the hardest edge case the engineering team had to solve to get the V-sensor to work on 100-year-old analog meters?
I'm sorry, on
100 years old analog meters.
Yes. So I mean, it's all about image quality. So in the end, yeah. To be honest, right now the bigger challenge would be if it's a 100-year-old water meter, it's going to be like dirt and things like that, because the model was quite easily, I mean, it's quite easy to train on all animals.
Right. About that, is it like today? I think the early stage we need to kind of teach the sensor to work in with the meters. How it is today? Can we develop to any meters in any analogic meters the sensor and be able to read the numbers like immediately, or is this still like a learning mode? What we need to put on the sensors?
No, I mean, from what we've seen so far, our experience is that it works from day one on all meters. I am sure we will come up in cases where it doesn't work. So, I mean, to say it's 100%, I think would be not wise. But I think from what we've seen so far, above 90% easily, we can read, especially on analog. We have tested the LCD less, but our aim is similar.
All right, perfect. Then I think we have time to take one more question. This is regarding the vibration monitoring. How sensitive is the sensor? Meaning, can we detect basic faults or go a bit deeper, like by detecting changes in vibration? There is more. See more. There is a lot of example. Whole pass frequency out ring. Whole pass frequency of inner ring, fundamental train frequency, pole spin frequency. I think this is something that we need to look at afterwards and give you the answer, but maybe Johan, you can answer that.
Can give it short. So yeah, so there are, let's say, two modes. I mean, we can just basically set it to run was to record start and stop time and nothing else. And then you can set the sensitivity in the sense of not getting false alarms. So if you're in, let's say, a slightly vibrating environment, you don't want it to wake up all the time. You only want it to wake up when the pump starts. So you can set that. But we also have the possibility of recording vibrations. So what we will do then is we will record the vibrations, and then we can build an AI model on that, and then we can detect. And that's where we will sort of, as we roll out the technology, we will build these models. So that's what we will do. So right now it's more of an on-off with the availability to do whatever you want in the end.
Learning by doing.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all. I think our 30 minutes has been spent. This was very exciting 30 minutes from my perspective, and I hope all the attendants feels the same way. I'm very much looking forward to reach out all of you and then keeping in touch. And if you have any questions, please share by email or give a call. We will be happy to give you the answers. Thank you, Johan. Thank you, Christian. This was very exciting time.
Thank you.